team. And today I will continue my live stream series building an application with Spring Data Neo4j 6, which is the latest major version of Spring Data Neo4j, the official GM in Java, and Angular, because I'm also building graphical user interface. And that's actually the part I'm going to continue working on today. And we will get back to Spring Data Neo4j 6 pretty soon. So let me share my screen, because as usual, I want to remind you a couple of things before we dive straight into the code. And as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat, whether you are on YouTube or Twitch. I'll do my best to try to answer them. So, as you may know, if you've been following my stream, I've been trying to promote the event Nodes 2021. So every year, Neo4j has been organizing Nodes, which is a nice conference to learn about different use cases, different technical projects, and various experiences of people using Neo4j and related libraries. So it's gonna go back this year in 17th of June, as you can read here, and we want you to register and attend. So, of course, try to sell your spot as early as possible. It might sell out pretty quick. So you just need to go to neo4j.com/nodes2021. So I'm going to send that to the chat right now. And while I'm at it, not only we would love to see you there and chat with the other attendees, but we would also love to see you submit a talk. So it can be about any topics. It can be about something new experimented with Neo4j. It can be something, doesn't have to be new. It can also be your own perspective on an existing project or product or use case, and how you manage to use the products, etc., etc. It's all about learning experiences for attendees. So if you have something you want to share, we would be more than happy to see you submit. You still have a couple of weeks. So early April will be the end of the call for papers. And so yeah, please try to submit as well. I'm going to send the link in the chat. So papercall.io/nodes-2021. And yeah, while I'm at it, I'm trying to not write any typos. And then let's dive straight into the code. Enough talking. And here we go. So for now, I'm not gonna recap anything. I'm just gonna continue right where we were. So if I run the test again real quick, everything passes. I think we fixed all the tests last time, but I'm afraid the application is not quite there yet in terms of graphical user interface. So while the thing is running, I'm trying to build a small application to be able to list and visualize the community projects around Neo4j connectors. So it's currently focused on HTTP and Bolt drivers. And when I say community, it can be official drivers as well, but we know these ones internally, obviously, because we maintain them. So yeah, part of my job in the drivers team, as you know, is to reach out to the community, trying to help them, trying to nurture the communities there, and make sure users are successful with Neo4j, whichever ecosystems they evolve in. So that's quite an important bit of my work here at Neo4j. And so, yeah, we had this beautiful component. If we try to start the application, let's see what happens. So the application without the backend, so it might be completely broken at this point, but let's see. And I will start a browser here. And all right, it's started, and we should see a beautiful form. Very beautiful, very responsive, top-notch CSS skills here. So a driver, currently I use the term driver. Again, I've been saying that for several weeks. I've not come up with a better name. Maybe connector, so it doesn't have this bolt connotation, because I'm also interested in HTTP connectors. or even projects. I know some projects in the wild uses Cypher Shell and send the comments to Cypher Shell and get the results back. That's also a way to connect to Neo4j. So it doesn't even have to be GDPR Bolt. Also, that's my first focus right now. That's my initial focus, and the plan is to iterate on this. So we have this, but I think if I try to submit the form, we shouldn't see much. So let's see. All right. So on the network side of things, there shouldn't be much. Currently, I don't do any validation. I could do that, but I don't want to spend, 15 episodes just building the front end. I guess that's not the part you're all interested in. Some project, official driver, and let's say it supports Bolt 4.0 and 4.2, and skip 4.1 for some reason, which is completely unrealistic. And I didn't add a submit button, but I could just try to submit here and nothing happens. So that's the next step, right? The next step is to make sure that we send the result, I mean, the materialization of this form to the backend, and that way it will end up in the database the backend is connected to, the Neo4j database. So let's try, let's go. Because here right now I have a very beautiful form, but it doesn't do much. So maybe the first thing I can do is, so it's an Angular application, by the way, in case I didn't make it clear already. And in that case, so it's pretty standard stuff that I generate with the built-in scaffolding tool, which is a nice thing about Angular, that is started from day one having a scaffolding tool, as far as I know. And components are basically a class that manages interactions between the DOM, so your HTML template, and whatever goes on with services. So I have a component that uses a service to actually talk to the backend. The service itself will talk to the backend through the HTTP endpoints that we developed in earlier episodes of this stream. And for now, I'm just having very simple implementation. It's not complete, but it's enough to get at least things started and kind of working, at least focusing on the happy path. I don't want, to live stream all the coding around error handling, etc., etc. I would just want to get a basic version working. That gives you some idea of how to get started. So that being said, we were the app component, which is very bad name app. I should probably rename it at some point. That's the one that displays a form, right? I have this driver form. On submit, something should happen, but we don't see much, right? Oh, there is a log actually, maybe, but I don't think oh yeah, we saw something actually. So submit for now just does console.log value. And if we see the value, actually, that's right. We see official, we see transports, and we see the URI. So that's nice. That's close to what we want, except we don't want to log it. We want to save it through the driver service. And the driver service, as you can see, has a save method that that's the part we started with in the first front-end episode. And he expects a driver. A driver is what? Is something that has a URI, which has a Boolean. I mean, so far, so good. Boolean and string. And a driver supported transport. So in that case, it's a little more complicated because we'll have to parse the strings into whether it's Bolt or not. And then the version. So we're going to do something very sloppy, I guess, but we're going to test drive this because that's a way of working that I really like, especially with my sloppy brain. I can do silly mistakes very easily. Proof which happened to me again very recently on something completely unrelated. But anyway, I tend to do silly mistakes, so test-driven development is a great help for me, and especially it's even more efficient when you pair programming. But I digress. Let's go back to this. So we want to submit the form, so we will have to go through the test here. So I have a test class, a standard test class, and yeah, we want to submit everything. So let's see. So I guess the easiest way will be to introduce a submit button. Yeah. And then just, so that we can click on it in the tests. Should create the app so that actually that test is the default one. We can get rid of it, because if it's the dependency injection framework cannot get the instance, and we screwed anyway. So should display the form. That's nice. We can actually add maybe a little something here, like maybe at the top. So I have my form. It should be there. And I expect also to find a single one, so just query selector. Find something like, I don't know, I'm going to be very, very imaginative and pick this one. So to be truthy, I expect to be there. Submit button should be there. I could actually do slightly better, because using an ID just for testing is a bit wasteful. I could actually have something selector a bit smarter than this. Something like button type equals submit, I guess, should do the trick. Except I cannot type. I should have only one in my form anyway, so it's kind of unambiguous, because I'm not started at the root of the document. I'm started at the form. So that's the root of my view, if you prefer. And so based on that, I have the test now should fail, I think. So let me rerun the test here. And yeah, we should see this test fail. So maybe it's not it's not academic TDD to revisit tests, review them, and make them fail again. But that's something I tend to do from time to time, because sometimes I don't have the full definitive idea of what I want to do. So I start with the first iteration of the test, make it fail, obviously, fix it, and then when I get more precise idea, I will continue to iterate on that test. Of course, you should work on new tests when you're working on something that is not completely related to the scenario you have in mind. But in that case, I'm just testing the form display. I want to add a new element. So the best excuse to do that is just to add an extra assertion in there. And if I go right into there, I should do something like this. Yeah, I guess I should do it. I don't remember if I use Bootstrap. Yeah, just in case, we'll see. Probably don't care at this point, because the markup is ugly anyway. I can do submit and have some save button or some save text or whatever. So if I check the test again, boom. All right, 3 success. Wait, didn't I have 4 success before? Did something happen, or did I miss something? Not sure why there are only 3. Yeah, because I removed the useless tests, useless default tests. I mean, it's nice to have a default test when you're learning about the framework, but here I don't really need it. Cool. So I have a button, and so I'm ready to go. So now what I want to have is a test that says it should call the service, blah 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 blah. It should call the service. It should persist. Or it persists. I don't like should, actually. I should stop using should. It should be, a bit more affirmative and not as scared as a should do this, should do that. It persists the driver. I mean, again, not super happy with this terminology, but no, not sure what to call it anyway. Did I miss something here? It's expectation. Oh yeah, just linter annoying me with formatting. And let's go, it persists the driver. So what should I do? So that's when the fun begins, because I need to programmatically add some data into the form. And I'm going to cheat a little bit, because I have another Angular application right under my eyes, just to remember to do it properly. So first, the probably easiest thing to do is to, yeah, so So last thing I want to do, I mean, not last, but almost. So let's do things in order, not in order, but in ways that make sense. I have a button, type submit. I want to click on it. So some things, of course, must happen here, right? Before, we'll see about that later. Then I need to tell Angular, because we are in a unit test, not in a real application, that to change detection. So you know if there are things changing in the DOM, it should be reflected in the component state, and vice versa. If the component state is changed, it should be reflected in the DOM. That is done automatically when you start an application, but it's not the case when you're in a unit test, because many things are stubbed or mocked. And so this change detection here has to be explicit. And because I changed, I wrote some stuff in the form. I need to detect changes so that the event, so not only the inputs have been filled, the submit event is detected, and so the Angular machinery can pick that up and bind this to the actual function callback I give in my component. So I have this, and then what do I expect? I should have somewhere, yes, a driver service pie. That's perfect, because I'm gonna need that. And I guess, oh, I like when my screen disconnects. But the syntax, I guess it's this: to have been called once with, that's perfect, and it should be with the driver. So I'm just gonna write what I expect. Maybe some example.com/project.git, who cares? Official false, and so just when false, type here official false. And so what was the other one? Supported transports. So it should be something like, I'm just gonna keep it simple here. So driver transport type is yeah, okay. So it's a value. Supported transport as a transport, which is, yeah, that's a bit that's not the most efficient payload, I guess. So transport is bold, and versions, let's keep it simple. Let's just say it's versions 4.2, 4.1 and 4.2, something like this. Okay, and of course it's not happy. Why? Oh, driver service is not visible yet, so we'll have to fix this. Okay, so it's a let, it's a split. And what the hell is going on here? Yep, no, nice try in front, but nope. That's mean spy of driver service. That's the type I'm looking for. It's a spy of this service. And this, to be visible, need to be just up there. Okay. And I will, of course, also need the save method. Otherwise, if it doesn't spy on it, I cannot know how many times it's been called and with what arguments, etc., etc. And so it's reset at every test. So yeah, actually, yeah, well, okay. So I have spaceship and skateboard 4.0, which is kind of stupid. Let me maybe have something a bit more realistic here, or maybe later. I will first do with these silly values and then change them to something more meaningful instead of doing two things at the same time. See, I lack discipline. That's why I need TDD, just to remind myself that I shouldn't do several things at once and fail, because that's obviously what happened here. So it's complaining about what? Conversion of URL string, da 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 da. To type driver may be a mistake because neither type sufficiently over da 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 da. Oh, it's URI. Yeah, just a typo and then it's lost. Nice. Okay. But for this to happen, so the skateboard stuff will be kinda easy because it's directly from the select list. So the select list should be there already. Do I do a fixture detect changes first? I'm not sure. No, I should probably. I will do that once so that it sees it reflects in the DOM the fact that we have a select list of these two transports. So I will move it in the before each because every test so far needs it. And then I need to basically, official false is a bit easy because it's just the default value because the checkbox by default is unchecked. So I'm gonna rather be explicit and say, no, I want it to be true. All right, so the fun starts. I need to send some input events. So let's see how we can do that. All right. So let me have a look at what I've done similar things before. I don't fully remember them, but yeah, okay. So I need to select first every input I'm interested in. So for this, I'm just gonna put the HTML right next to the tests, so I don't have to scroll everywhere and switch between tabs and go crazy. So, okay, so we have this beautiful form that fits, kind of fits into a half screen with a very giant zoom for me. So it's cool that it fits. And so let's try to first, what do we want? Let's start with the URI, I guess. So DOM query selector URI, which is an ID, so that's kind of convenient. And then that gives me the URI field, URI input. And what do I want to do? I want to change its value. So I can assign it directly. I'm gonna reuse this. And then the important thing that I always kind of forget is if you want to programmatically simulate something being written to an input, you also need to dispatch the event that would naturally happen in a browser, which is the input event. So you need to dispatch this, which is something very easy to forget. All right. The question is, how do you check a checkbox? I guess I'm just gonna check real quick because I don't remember. And I don't have an example right at the top of my head. So let's see. So if I just look at JavaScript, programmatically, probably, check input. Checkbox state programmatically. What do people say? Checked true. I guess that's all right. And I guess the input event also needs to happen. JavaScript input event checkbox. Does it apply? I guess it applies as well. Or is it change? Let's see what to. Okay, sorry, it's in French. Actually, I can view it in English, so let's do that. The change event is fired for blah 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 blah. Yeah, but I'm not interested in that one. Input event. Let's have a look at input event instead. And let's read it in English. Yeah, so any input. Yeah, so that makes sense. All right. So I just, instead of value in that case, what I'm going to do is, so do the same. except I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be, a bit sloppy, copy paste, because that's life. It's like official input. Yeah, official input is a weird name, but let's go with this. Checked, and that should be true. And then send an input in there. And finally, an annoying bit, which is select. How do we select stuff? That's I don't remember. So I guess it will. Let's start with basics. Transport. Thank you, Screen, for disconnecting again. I really enjoy it. That's not going to be checked, but that's for sure. Then we need to do selected, right? Programmatically select multiple options. Boom, JavaScript. Easy, it reads my mind. That's so nice. Except it's using some kind of jQuery, I guess, with chosen.js. I have no idea what chosen.js is. Set attribute selected. Okay, so it's just getting the options. All right. So in that case, what do I want to do? I could be, I completely control the data here. So I could say, I'm just going to check the second value. So that should work. Let's do that. And if you protest in the chat, then I might revisit this. But for now, that should work just well enough. So I have this select input, which is called transport. Then from there, I can get the array. So I need, to go from DOM node list to arrays, because DOM APIs exposes its own kind of list, etc., which is super annoying to work with. But luckily, you can convert that into an array very easily, which is why I will use this array from. So I can use map, etc., filter, and blah, blah, blah. So transport input, query selector all, and options. And I will have how many? So I can probably filter option. Oops, not the Java lambda value, something like this. Hopefully that should be fine. Why is it unhappy? Because I should type it. All right, we got it. Some node, I guess. Well, let's be sloppy and use any. I know TypeScript people will be pissed if they see me coding like this, but anyway. So that should give me all the options, transport options. And for now, I'm going to be, as I said, very sloppy. Out of all the non-empty options, I'm interested in the second one, which is index 1, because index 0 is the first one. And I'm just going to do this. That should be, so is it selected, or is it selected true? Selected. Okay. Or maybe set attribute. It's probably cleaner with 2T. Selected. Yeah, it's not happy about it, is it? Yeah, so it's, again, that's cheating. Don't do that at home. Try to type those properly. And then I guess I have my transports, I have my options, and boom. Okay. So the test should fail, because the implementation is obviously not ready, but let's see how it fails. So expected unknown.save to have been called with blah, blah, blah. So unknown is not nice, so let's fix that, because we didn't give a name to our spy. I believe there is, so base name and method name. So that's because of this. So we can give it a name. Driver service. It's a very nice name, or not. Expected driver service, yeah, maybe a class name would be easier. Driver service, and a bit less confusing. Driver service safe to have been called with blah, 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 but it was never called. So far, it kind of makes sense because we actually don't call it. And okay, let's be confident that the test is properly written, which is probably unlikely, but let's assume it is well written and does everything we want, which is click the button. So I mean, dispatch the events to fill the form. So set the URI, select the transport, make it official, so check the box, click the submit button, detect changes, boom, it's bound to our component. The component calls the callback. The callback should now, so that's not done yet. That's the part we need to do now. It should not do this stupid thing here. It should instead call the driver service. So at some point, so we'll have this driver, which will do something like this: is convert value, because we have some slight changes to do to that. And then this driver service, is it there? Is it not there? It's not there? Oh yeah, it's not assigned to a form. So we're gonna do it now. Save driver. Okay. That looks easy, except of course, now I need to solve this other problem, which is give me a driver out of this form. So for the most part, it's going to be kind of easy, because if we look real quick, we had this. I wonder if I can copy it nicely. I guess I can. Store as global copy object. And what happens if I paste it here around? Yeah, nice. Thank you, Firefox. Thank you, Firefox engineers. Thanks a lot for that. That's quite helpful. So that's what we have, but driver is not exactly like that, because transport is a slightly more annoying type, which is closer to what the backend exposes. So it's a single type, which means we have to parse this, and yeah, and basically extract anything started with a number and dot. I guess it's not great, but it should be fine. So let me. I think the thing we need to do is basically those are direct, so that's kind of easy. URI, but then we need to map. And again, the screen disconnects. I believe there is some interference between my mic, maybe my headphones, and my screen, or maybe my adapter to my Mac is kind of dying. I don't know, but it's a bit weird. Anyway, it's just my screen stops for like 1 or 2 seconds 5 times a day, which is quite annoying. But I digress again. So what do I need to do? Let's do something super straightforward. I need this. At the end, I return it, which should be a driver. This is just fine. Official is the same. Of course, in terms of typing, it's not super happy. Create property, what? Why is it unhappy? Yeah, okay, because I need to, yeah, whatever. Let's do it like this. And then the fun parts begin. Result.transport. It gets transport, that's nice. Except it's transport, so no, supported transports. And then supported transports should map the transports in there. Convert transports from value.transports. All right, and this should be as this. For now, it can be static actually, but we can revisit that later. And those that should give me an array of driver. Oops, not in Go. Mixing languages all over the place. And so I need this. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna move this to the right because that's kind of handy to have the definition next to me while I'm mapping stuff. And I forgot a colon. Here we go. And this is for now any. It's not exactly accurate, so I can actually move that here now. And I need to go from this to this one. How can I do this? I mean, in case it's kind of clumsy, I should probably review that at some point to have it a bit more semantically correct. So maybe review the form structure a little bit, like have the type on one hand and the versions on the other hand. For now, I'm going to be sloppy because I guess the way it's working. Yeah, let's get sloppy first and better afterwards, instead of trying to chase something hard right away. So I have these transports, which are actually this. It's an array of any. It's an array of string, to be accurate. So is it complaining above? Nope, because it's any, so any can yield any kind of types. So I will have to be smart about this. It's a kind of group by, I guess. Is there anything like this? So if I do, is there any kind of group by in JavaScript? JavaScript array group. Come on, group by. So let's go to Stack Overflow. Reduce. Using reduce, that's nice. You iterate. Let me think. I'm gonna go with a bad version first and then be smart afterwards. So for now, I'm just gonna do this for transport of transport. Actually, count is enough. I'm gonna go with the result. And then return the result, and then we do. I'm rather go with dump code first and then improve it rather than try to be smart and never succeed. Variable result implicitly has type any in some locations, where its type cannot be determined. Yeah, okay. So we have this transport. Yeah, we're gonna be super sloppy. Let's just do a stupid split. Yeah. Just checking the doc real quick. Split a string into substring using the specified separator into the main array. Separator. And limit is quite useful because I need only two parts. So it would split on the first space, which is, again, I know, super sloppy. So I got at most two parts, but I could get only one. So then I need the second part, which is the version. So in that case, if result of the first part, which is string 0, the transport, is undefined, then I need a driver supported transport. Just thinking out loud, taking a tiny break just to read that properly. used before its declaration. Say what? Oh yeah, of course, I'm stupid. So split string 0 transport type. String transport version might not be always applicable. Is this or this? Then based on this, I can kind of do if result has, yeah, that's a bit stupid. That's a bit stupid. Maybe I'm gonna do it like this. So sorry, I'm a bit slow today. That can happen. Strings. What's the length? You know what? Let's get actually focused on the test. I'm trying to solve a problem that I don't have expressed in a test yet. So I'm gonna be, yeah. Let's be sloppy. So I'm just gonna keep that if strings. I'm just gonna assume for now there is always a version. Yeah, and then I will go back to that later. Also see the application work with a basic thing like that and fix it afterwards. So transport type, and then that means results.push. I can push what? I can push my transport, which itself has a value, which is a transport type. And yeah, maybe let's format it a little bit more. So I will add in drive support to transport just to add some kind of checks, and versions will just be my transport value. Yeah. All right, so it could be static. I know that should be enough to make the test pass, provided that the test is written properly, which is not guaranteed at all. It fails because, but it was never called. Oh, that's a bit strange. On submit, then convert transports. So we should see something. Yeah, that's a bit strange. Let's see. It's never called. That's strange. Just let's restart the test to make sure. So submit does not happen. Oh, except of course, I'll probably need to do this. First detects the changes. It's never called. What? So let's have a look with the real application to understand things a bit better. I always struggle with that part, to be honest. Let's see. So let's go back to our beautiful graphical user interface. So now we have a beautiful save button. It should crash at some point because the backend is not there, but that should be seen. Yeah, nothing happens, it seems. Just gonna retry. Nope, nothing happens. What did I miss? What did I miss? Let me check. Submit on submit. Type submit. Yeah, that's strange. Let me check the template again. Because we used to have a console.log driver from value, and it used to work, so I'm not sure what's changed. Just gonna put it back. Let's have the application reload. Let's remove this. Let's go back to the console. So I see it here, but then save doesn't do anything. Or is it? There should be a call here. I really don't get it. What's going on here? Why? That's very strange. What am I missing? So let me check something else. Yeah, that's very strange. I don't really get it. Just to see that nothing is crazy. What? So I have an object. Yeah, I have my service in there. It's all wired properly. Let me think. What is going wrong here? Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't see what I'm missing here. I'm doing a submit. Button type submit should do the trick. I can temporarily switch to an input type submit, but it would make the test fails, obviously. But just temporarily trying that. It shouldn't change anything. But who knows? Submit query. What? Oh, wait, is it because it should be value? My bad. But it's very important. But okay, so some values. What? Seriously, I don't get it. And do I see any logs? Nope, there is nothing wrong going on. It should crash. I mean, I should see the service fail. Sending something to /driver, a post to /driver and fail because the backend is not running. I should see that. But for some reason, I don't. And that kind of escapes me at the moment. What is going on? Well, only one way to find out. So let's go. Oh man, with this level of zoom, it's impossible to browse. Do I have src? Can I see the sources? Yes. So if I go there, so that's my HTML. Okay, but I'm more interested in this. Unless it crashes silently, which could happen, right? So let's go in there. Step in, result, da. So how does my result look? Wash expression. Yeah. How does it look like? the transports, I have transport with value bold and version. Yeah, I mean, okay, that is kind of failing because my implementation is not ready for that, but that's not too surprising. Okay, it looks right. And step over. Then should go to save. And why don't I see anything? Yeah, it's going to post, but why don't I see anything? So if I go there, what? Why? What's going on? Maybe I should subscribe to it, or let me check real quick. Maybe because I don't subscribe to it, it doesn't wait and somehow gets lost, but that's very strange. Yeah. I don't like this. I don't like this. So let's subscribe then. Let's subscribe and see if that changes anything. Dot subscribe. Let's see. I would like to see an error. That's really what I would like to see. Yeah, okay, continue. Here we go. Because I didn't subscribe, it didn't wait, didn't trigger anything. Now I have a 404, which is something I expected. Okay. So let's see if that's reflected in my test. Maybe not the most elegant way to do this, by the way, but at least I want to get going. Is that reflected in my test? My test should hopefully pass. That's my hope. Oh yeah, except I changed the markup. Yeah, so let me maybe revert back this change. Of course, I guess that change was kind of useless, but move back to that. And let's see. And then, so it's almost right. Expected spy driver service to have been called with, but it was never called. So again, we have this never called thing, but in real life, it seems to happen though. Yeah, there might be some timing issue in here. Doesn't have time. How can we do this? How can we do this properly? Let me think. Let me think. Let me see. Angular on submit, subscribe. And let's filter because I don't want old, outdated answers. Less than a year. So it's not really button submit working. Subscribe. Yeah, let's see what's do I have. Yeah, I'm not sure how to solve this properly. So if I restart the app, at least I should see it working. I believe so, at least, unless my button submit versus input submit introduce a regression again, but I don't think so. Let's see. So let's remove this. It started already. Yeah, see, it still works. I mean, it works in a way that fails, but it fails as I expected, which is because the backend is not running. Okay. So why does not the test see that? I assume it's because doesn't have the time. So let me check something. What's the signature of this? Event emits an event when the form submission has been triggered. Yeah, except that's not what I want to see. Yeah, okay, you know what? I will stop there. I will try to figure this out properly before the next stream. And yeah, I might just go back to, I mean, of course, I will show the fix if I find it before I continue, but I will probably go back to the backend afterwards because there has been some exciting things going on the Spring Data Neo4j site that will be released soon. So I would like to try this out in my tiny little backend just to show off some novelties in the Spring Data Neo4j on the Spring Data Neo4j side. So apologies for this. I always struggle, to be honest, with form submissions in tests. I've been doing this several times, but I always struggle. So I will try to figure out a good way to work around this submission problem, and yeah. In the meantime, thanks a lot for joining. I will try to probably move to the backend part again next week and try to complete the front end. I mean, for some definition of complete during the following days, and I will get you updated once I solve this. For now, I don't really know. So thanks a lot, and see you next week. Thank you, Wayne, for watching, and thanks for your comments. It's very nice. I hope to be a bit more productive next week. Thank you, and have a good week, everyone. Stay safe. Bye bye.